I asked my stepdaughter when her wedding was scheduled. "Oh, it was yesterday," she said with a bright, casual smile, as if the words meant absolutely nothing. "It was only for special people." I nodded slowly. "I see." Her comment drifted between us lightly, but inside something tightened. My stomach knotted. Special people. Not me. Not anyone I considered family. Just special. A phrase sharp enough to cut while she remained completely unbothered. I let it pass. Outwardly, I stayed steady. Inwardly, though, I felt the subtle fractures spreading. Each look, each quiet jab carefully recorded. A week later, my phone buzzed. Her name flashed on the screen. "The rent and university fees are overdue. Did you send the money?" she pressed. A faint, empty smile tugged at my mouth. "Didn't I tell you?" Click. No anger yet, just a cold, deliberate clarity settling in. That night, I replayed everything. Her voice, the tone she used, the calculated distance she always kept, close enough to benefit, far enough to avoid any responsibility. The wedding, the tuition, all of it suddenly looked intentional, orchestrated. I started wondering what else she assumed I wasn't seeing. So I stayed quiet, not confrontational, observant. Bank statements, scheduled transfers, email confirmations, all the things I had done to support her life. Every bit of help she treated, like it was owed to her. Every kindness dismissed without thought. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Leaving me out of the wedding wasn't oversight. It was deliberate. Her message about the payments, disguised as urgency, was just another move in the same pattern. She was testing boundaries, checking how far she could push. And I responded with silence. Silence that became my strength. The more she tried to assert control, the more carefully I prepared my response. Days slipped into weeks. I heard her laughing with friends, bragging about a family I clearly didn't belong to. Each moment added weight, tightening the air around me. But I never lost my cool, never raised my voice. I just remembered, logged, calculated. Then the proof appeared. Tuition fees never paid, transfers canceled, checks left unused. Everything I had contributed to keep things stable had been misused, redirected, wasted. And now I had evidence. Clear, exact, impossible to dismiss. I invited her over under the guise of a simple dinner. She arrived upbeat, unaware, wearing that familiar confidence. I placed the papers on the table, statements, invoices, emails, lined up neatly, undeniable. I watched her carefully. Every blink, every twitch, every crack in her expression. Her lips parted, her eyes widened. The confident facade collapsed. You knew," she whispered. "I know everything." I replied evenly, each word steady and controlled. Her composure fell apart. "But I thought you'd never notice." I leaned back, not triumphantly, but with a sense of inevitability. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't demand answers. I let the truth speak on its own. The documents were louder than any anger could ever be. For the first time, she didn't see me as someone she could use, depend on, or manipulate. She saw the consequences she had avoided for far too long. I left her standing there, silent, shaken, not to punish her, but because I no longer needed the discussion. My strength was in stepping back. My control was in knowing everything she thought she'd hidden. When she called later, voice frantic and desperate, I only smiled at the shift, the moment she realized the game had changed. I didn't answer. A few days later, I walked past the university office and quietly watched the routine payments process without a single issue. Everything continued as if nothing had happened. She had expected chaos. None arrived. She believed she had influence. She didn't. The wedding, the tuition, every test, now exposed, now meaningless. That evening, a deep realization settled inside me. Those who refuse to be manipulated are the ones the world eventually yields to. By letting her show who she truly was, I freed myself from the small game she thought she was winning. Her false sense of power became her own trap. As I walked away, leaving her staring at the evidence, the small smile on my face wasn't victory. It was clarity. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to rage. My withdrawal, my awareness, my unwavering composure. That was my triumph. She had created the chaos. I simply watched it fold back onto her. I poured myself a glass of wine, watching the sunset spill across the room, golden light brushing over the now useless stack of documents. She would continue with her life. She would adjust. But she would never forget the moment I stopped playing the role she assigned me. I stepped back. I waited. I understood. And finally, I moved forward, free of her manipulation. The house rested in silence. The papers remained untouched. I walked away, not angry, not proud, just completely in control. And in that control, I found a peace she would never understand.